right, so Don, you mentioned one of the last bombing raids of the war, which is one of the ones you participated in, was Wangerooge. Right. And you had to bomb that island fortress, and they sent over a whole bunch of bombers. And now, did you actually see the mid-air collision between all those bombers that happened on that last bomber raid?
Yes, I did.
Can you describe that to us? Because you're an eyewitness that we have not ever reported with before.
There were two Halifax that, as I say, that collided on. They were on our starboard, and went down in the North Sea. Then directly behind, not directly behind, but a little bit to the port, two Halifax, Canadian Halifax bombers collided. Going down, they hit two Lancasters, and so there were four aircraft went down in the North Sea.
Wow. And did you see any parachutes, or do you think they all went down with their aircraft?
There were bodies coming out of fuselage, some with aircraft, some with parachutes, some without, and so that was all those men going down the North Sea.
So that's 6 airplanes. That's at least 42 men, right. 7 men in each aircraft. Mm-hmm. Wow. Can you imagine? They get all the way through the war. They're just on their last bombing mission of the war, Wangerooge, right. And then you lost all those guys. And how did you see it? Were you in the front of the formation, and were you looking out the tail turret, or were you looking out the mid-upper turret?
No, I was looking out the rear turret. I had a very good view of the whole thing. Yeah. Wow. And there was one aircraft also shot down by flak.
Don, did you happen to see it? It's obviously, what do you call it, a domino effect, where one airplane could hit another. Yes. But what do you think was the reason for these mid-air collisions? Did you see anything specific?
Well, when they coming into target, they come in on the what they call a gaggle formation, and excuse me, they when they come in together to get to target, there were so many aircraft close by, and all slipstreams that they had to contend with.
Okay, so turbulence would be a factor, and you'd be popping up and down and around by getting in behind other airplanes. And would you say that they were closer than they normally would have been because it was such a small target?
I expect that was probably part of the reason. Yes. Mm-hmm. But they once they got over the target, of course, there were bombs dropping in the water on the island and everything else. But our wing commander was flying above us, dropping their bombs. I could have reached out and touched them when they were going down. Yeah.
Thanks for being with us today. And here we're sitting in front of this beautiful old Halibag, the Halifax bomber, which was the 1-2 punch of Bomber Command. We had the Lancasters and we had the Halifaxes. And how do you feel about the saving of this Halifax out of the lake in Norway? And also, if you can add on to that, how do you feel about us finding another Bomber Command bomber, the Halifax, off the coast of Sweden? Bill, I'll go to you first.
Well, I hope you do find another one. I hope that it's not a Mark 7 but a Mark 3, because the Mark 3 was the one that did most bombing. And as far as the one aircraft sitting behind us, the wife and I were over here when they brought it first, and it was spread out in the hangar in bits and pieces. I think that was 1995. And we couldn't see it ever being put together as an aircraft. I was over here so often, anytime I came near the place, if my wife was with me, I'd say, just a minute, I'll have to see how the restoration's coming. I did help out a couple of times to act as escort around here while it was going on. Mm-hmm. And I stopped in so often to see my so-called girlfriend, or as my wife referred to, as the other woman.
The Halifax was the other woman.
Yes, I couldn't pass it without going in to see her. I hope that describes it.
Yeah, I think we get the sentiment.
Yes.
And Don, how do you feel about saving these bombers for Bomber Command, the memories of all those guys that didn't get back? How do you feel about that?
I think it's a great thing that they're being able to recover these bombers.
And how do you feel about, now that you've heard that we're doing another Halifax off the coast of Sweden, how do you feel about that? Do you have any particular feelings? And it's going to Western Canada so that Eastern Canada can't hog all the all the bombers.
Right. No, that's a great thing, really. This is going to be a little harder to recover probably than the first one, because you're finding pieces in a larger area.
That's right. Now remember, we've already collected 30% of a Halifax bomber before Sweden. So you see, all of the parts that our Swedish buddies at the diving group are saving for us in Sweden, that adds on to the 30%. Plus, we have 7 Bristol Hercules engines already. So you see, we're collecting, we've got a good, it's the world's biggest jigsaw puzzle, folks. But the whole point being is we're determined to give these guys the credit they deserve. And the way we do that, the ultimate tribute, is to build them up a Halifax. And you'll have to come to Alberta to see it.
Yes.
I
hope to be.
Okay, Bill.
You'll have to do a fast job. I'm aging, you know.
Okay, but you can have another girlfriend in Alberta, Bill.
Yes. As my wife's passed on, I'll have no competition this time.
Okay, that's great. Well, gentlemen, thank you for coming out today. And if you'll just let me know the list of vitamins that you guys are taking, then that'll help me go on a little bit longer. But thanks for coming out today.
Yeah, you're more than welcome. You're more than welcome.